Hi there, my name's Core, and this is the updated All Songs tutorial for Thea. So All Songs is kind of closest to what the intended playthrough looks like. You go through and you get all of the different songs or voices, which is kind of like the main quest, but the way that we do it is still pretty different from how you would do a casual playthrough. So this is going to be pretty helpful. The goal of this kind of beginner tutorial is to get you a sub-hour time. This isn't going to make you really competitive for like world record or maybe top 3, um, but yeah, it's just to kind of get you started on the basic tricks so that you can get a sub-hour time. And I'll be following this up with a advanced tutorial probably in a few weeks. So this is just to get people started. So right off the bat, let's just go ahead and start a new game. So timing starts at kind of a weird time in this game. Since you can't adjust settings outside of a file, we have timing start when you first start moving in the game, because you have to wait until the first cutscene plays to be able to adjust camera settings and things like that. So just to kind of even the playing field on that, we start timing as soon as you're able to move Thea. And if you're playing on PC, there is an auto splitter for that. So right off the bat, we're going to go over to the right here. This is the slower of the 2 starting crystals that you can get in All Songs, but it is also console viable, where the other trick, as far as we know, is PC only. So you're going to literally just hop up the wall here and kind of get into this little cranny here, and you're going to do what's called a wall surf. So basically you're just going to slide along the wall here. You're going to do small little jumps. It's a little inconsistent, which is why we don't go for it in the advanced route. But your goal is basically to try and do little jumps as you fall. So you'll probably be resetting a lot at the beginning, just because this jump is, like I said, a little inconsistent, and I'm not as familiar with it because I don't usually go for this crystal when I'm doing All Songs runs. If you're doing something like any percent or not even all abilities, because you get it later when you have the ability to climb trees and glide in all abilities and also 100%. So you really only do this jump if you're like top 3 in any percent, which I just haven't done in a while. So I'm trying to show, there we go. Yeah. And then you just jump up and get this crystal. So let's do that one more time just so you can kind of see the cadence a little bit, or the rhythm. It's also a little bit of a weird angle that you have to like kind of surf along the wall at. There you go. Alright. Give me just a second. My cat is trying to knock things off of my desk. Alright. So, once you get that crystal, you just kind of follow this little baby deer. And we're going to make our way over to this log right here to grab our second crystal of the run. So if you're on PC, this jump is really easy. You just get onto this rock. Well, first let me kind of clip the camera in here so you can see where the crystal is. You can just barely see it over on the right here. So what you're going to do is you're going to jump here, and like I said, if you're on PC, you literally just hold up. If you're on console, I've noticed that you kind of have to like swing the analog stick like back or to the side and then jump, but like I said, on PC it's just a straight jump up. You just kind of jump down, grab that crystal, and then come out. And so this is the first pairing. This is kind of like the main mechanic of Thea, where you can sing at a specific pitch. So what we're going to do is we're going to match pitch and just jump up onto this flower here. Now there's a slightly more advanced way to do this next part called baby deer skip, but because this is a beginner's tutorial, I'm just going to show you the basics where you actually pair with baby deer. So we're going to run up to this. So just to show what I did there again, I ran up to this patch of grass and then I slowly started singing at like minimum pitch and slowly walked over and then did the pairing with baby deer. If you go any faster than that, baby deer is going to get spooked. Then you just jump on baby deer, sing at your highest note, and that'll make baby deer go a little bit faster. Now this is the reason why we skip baby deer, because it's a little bit difficult to get baby deer to come up here. They just are a little bit temperamental, and then getting them to sing here can take a while. So like I said, it's not the fastest or most consistent thing with baby deer, so if you want to learn how to skip that, that'll be in the advanced tutorial. Now you need to jump over this little triangle right here to be able to avoid getting stopped by that cutscene. So it's so second nature that I didn't even think to stop and mention that. But yeah, you just do a little jump over there, and when the vines grow, you won't get stopped by that cutscene. You'll just be able to walk straight through it. You just run over to the center. And this is where we get the ability to climb trees. Oh, there's my cat. Hey, Charlie. So, like I said, this is where we get the ability to climb trees. Super easy. Just jump up the tree. Once you have the ability to move, we're going to jump across here. Up here to grab that crystal. That's the third of 5 crystals that are required for this route. Jump up this tree. Jump over to this one. Now we're going to get the last 2 crystals, kind of in the same area. So we jump up this tree, and you can either turn the camera around so you can see where you're jumping and then jump, or I usually just don't even bother turning the camera and I just turn the control stick down. And the camera will naturally turn, but if you do it quickly, it won't do that. So we're going to jump up into this corner, and we're going to kind of jump towards here. I actually got it right there first try without getting properly lined up. But you just, yeah, you jump over to here, and if you get stuck like this, just start spamming the grab button. That will actually take you out of the falling animation. That's kind of a newer discovery that wasn't in the first tutorial that I made for All Songs. So all you have to do is just spam the grab button and you'll get out of that animation, which is way faster than waiting for yourself to naturally get out of it. So then we're going to just run up here, jump across here. You can just make it right there. I just missed the jump there. Thankfully, there's this little ledge here that helps. So this next jump is a little tricky. If you miss it, don't worry. You can just climb up the tree and get back over. But let's see if we can get this. Yeah. So you can just make the jump right there. Let's do that one more time just so you can see it. So jump across, spam grab. And so what I do is, like, I kind of line up about halfway on here and then just jump straight across. And it looks like you're going to bonk on that wall, but it actually kind of lets you wall surf a little bit. So then we're going to jump back onto here. Like I said, spam grab. And just make our way over to here to get this last crystal. So when you fall down here, it's going to do the vine animation again. So the way that we're going to jump is going to avoid A, doing the fall damage animation. It's not really damage, but it's just like a fall stun. And B, trying to avoid the game stopping your momentum for the animation, for the cutscene of those vines growing. So you're just going to jump down here and jump onto this tree. And if you time it right, then you shouldn't get stopped on your way up the tree. And so we're already kind of sequence breaking a little bit, because we're not supposed to have the glide ability yet. We're supposed to get it after we finish the first story area, which is the bird area. So that's going to help us do a lot of things much quicker than intended. Actually, before we leave this area, I'm going to kind of explain glide boosting a little bit. So glide boosting is the slight speed increase that you get when you start a glide. You actually have the ability to get that on the ground. So the rhythm is a little weird. I'm not the best at it. If you want to see a master at it, go see Ike Wolf, the current world record holder, videos, just so you can kind of see how much speed Ike gets over other runners just by having like perfect glide boost rhythm. But essentially what you're doing is you're jumping, and then on your way down you're starting a glide. So you'll need to kind of look down at the input viewer down here, but just kind of look at the rhythm that I'm hitting the jump button. And that's actually slightly faster than if you were just running normally. Now there's a couple caveats to that. It isn't faster if you're going like up a slope, so you're going to do that on flat ground or on a downhill slope, and the timing changes a little bit if you're going downhill. Obviously you can keep the glide for a little bit longer when you're going downhill, so it's really just kind of something that you feel out. And like I said, I'm not the best at it. Ike Wolf is a master at it, and it's one of the reasons why he saves so much time over all the other runners. So from here, we're just going to jump up. Charlie, you're getting in the way of my video. And we're just going to glide over to this tree, and it says to hold, but you actually go way faster if you kind of like stop and start your glides. If you just hold a glide, it's actually pretty slow. So here we're going to jump across. Now, because we didn't do Baby Deer skip, we're actually going to have Baby Deer to be able to help us with this flower over here, so it's not necessary that you do this jump, but I'm going to go ahead and show it because it's relatively easy, and it's something that you'll be doing at a higher level when you do Baby Deer skip. They won't be here to help extend this deer flower, so you just kind of jump up onto this rock and jump and glide. and then you can just get across there. So then we're going to jump down. And we're making our way over to the bird area. So if you go along the right side like this, you should be able to avoid the silent ones. Usually once I get to about here, I start singing and trying to get the right note. Now there is a way to skip this because it is a little slow, but the jump is a little bit difficult and you don't really need to do it to get a sub-hour time. So now I just deal with this cutscene, wait for it to finish. And as we're falling down, try and get close to the note for baby bird. Try and make our way as far as possible before we get our momentum stopped by that little tooltip. Jump over here. I'm not going to worry about getting that green seed. I'm just going to jump over there and show that again because it is a little fast. So we're going to jump up here onto this tree root and glide across to there. Then run up to this tree, climb it, and this is allowing us to skip that bird right there, which is actually going to cause a kind of cool visual glitch a little bit later. So now we're just going to glide over here. Alright, so you're going to start singing at max, the highest note, and as soon as you see the triangles coming off of that glyph, right over there, that's when you're going to let go, and that'll get the perfect timing for baby bird to open up this green seed plant for you. You just throw it with that bird. Then same thing, you're going to start singing at max pitch. Run over to this green seed until you see that silent one moving, and then you're actually going to jump over to this one. Grab it. We're going to run over to here and get ready to throw. Actually jump down here a little bit earlier than you'd think. Toss this right there and then just sing a little bit so that Mama Bird actually grabs that. And now because we have glide, we're going to be able to do things in a very unintended way. Because we can just glide over to this tree. Now there's a much faster way to do this, but it's pretty risky, and like I said, kind of similar to other stuff, you don't need to do it to get a sub-hour time. So we're just going to make our way over here. Alright, now we have this silent one walking up here, so we're going to make our way behind this little pedestal. Wait for the silent one to drop the egg. And just make our way across here. Now the cycle is a little bit random here, so we're going to want to wait for this silent one to move and start going back over to the right. run past here, go into the river, and across. Now, if you can line this throw up perfectly, you can actually throw it so that Mama Bird can grab it from here, but as long as it makes it across the river, you should be fine. Yeah, I did not line that up well, so you see it kind of bounced way out of Mama Bird's reach. But once you make that throw, we can just go straight down here, and this silent one should already be moving. If you get spotted, don't worry about it. We're just going to make our way to this tree. And once you see the silent one start moving, that's when you're going to jump. There's not really a good way to show it, but just if you play back the video, you'll see that I waited until the kind of spotlight from the silent one started moving again. Let me do this jump right here just so you can see what I'm doing. So we're going to get up here, and then you'll just barely be able to make it onto that tree. So we're going to follow kind of close behind this silent one, and as soon as this bear attacks the silent one and the silent one drops the egg, we're going to grab it and start running. And we're just going to toss it across here, glide over, grab this egg again, toss it across. Don't miss it. If you do that, don't worry about it. Also, sometimes if you throw, these eggs are kind of bouncy, and sometimes if you throw the egg and it lands, like, hits like just the wrong triangle here, it'll like fly all the way into the river. If that happens, don't worry about it, just grab it from the river and jump over here. And then we just toss it over to Mama Bird to be able to grab. If she doesn't already have this one, go ahead and bring it over to her. And now we just need to grab the last egg. Super easy, we're just going to glide over here past this silent one and stand behind this pedestal. You can either toss the egg across the gap over there or just jump across. And now that Mama Bird has those 3 eggs already, we can actually just toss this one to get the cutscene started early. Just mash through that. And you see that I'm holding right on the D-pad so that it automatically selects the bird voice. Alright, coming up, this is the visual glitch that I mentioned earlier. So this bird still has the visual glitch of being in the silent one's wall, which is kind of cool. So we're just making our way back over to the hub area. Obviously we don't need to use the adult birds because we have the ability to glide. So this jump is going to be a little bit tricky. Let me actually go back and show this jump that we're doing right here. So we just need to make our way, if you land on this rock, you're good to make it up here. So now's a good time to talk about the different ways you can jump off of trees, which I know sounds way more complicated than it needs to be, and it kind of is. So basically, depending on when you start a glide coming off of a tree, you get varying amounts of vertical and horizontal distance. So if you do a glide like that, you get the highest that you'll get off of the jump quickly, And if you wait a little bit after jumping off the tree, you'll get the highest point of your jump a little bit further out. So like, if you just immediately do it, you get the height of your jump really quickly, and if you wait a second, I'll mess that up. If you wait a second, I'll just show it off of this tree. You do that kind of like little dip under, and then back up, as opposed to just jumping and immediately gliding. You like arc early and then drop down. So you want to do the second jump where you kind of wait a little bit so that you swing back up, and we're aiming for kind of that plant right there. It's kind of like in the middle of the screen, kind of where those rocks meet right there, and we're going to land on that point. Now it looks like you're going to miss it, but again, part of the like way that you jump on there, it just rolls you right up if you get your angle right. Yep. Then you just jump onto this tree. And make your way over to this one. So you actually don't want to jump all the way to the top of this tree. You can jump off on the side and avoid a small cutscene there. And now we're just making our way over to the deer area. Yeah, we're gonna do the same thing where we climb this tree and turn around just to skip a kind of side area. But now that we have the glide ability, we can just glide across here, which is a little bit faster. You can actually make it cleanly. I just messed up the jump a little bit. If we jump onto this rock, yeah, you can make it right up without getting stuck. Now we're just going to glide across here. And there's Deer Guard. So I'm just tapping the sing button just to open up the green seed plants without really making too much noise. We're going to grab this one too. Now you can jump straight down, but sometimes the green seed breaks when you fall down. So just to play it safe, I usually slide down that wall, which avoids the break. And then on this one, you also just kind of slide on the wall a little bit. And then we just kind of jump across here. We're doing this to avoid some silent ones and avoid the cycles that we have to meet for them. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and break this just in case, like, at any point the green seed broke, just to show you the backup. So what you would do is you would glide over here, just barely sing to get that open, run down to this corner, wait for the silent one to be going the opposite direction, and you just jump up these rocks. And then you can get back up with the green seed that you're supposed to get, but a little bit faster. Now we just make our way across these trees, over to the final one. Now again, there's a pretty significant skip here called Deer Climb Skip that I'm not going to show. It's going to be in the advanced tutorial. Just because the timing window is super tight, and if you mess up that timing window, it can cause you to fall down to the ground and have to like chase Deer God around this area in order to be able to climb back up Deer God. So I'm just going to show you the where you go to do the skip, but not actually try and execute it, just to play it safe. Because you don't need to do it to get a sub-hour time. And that's what this beginner tutorial is all about. So I realized, kind of jumping down here, I just kind of YOLO it, but you can play it safe and kind of wait in these plants to avoid the silent ones. Because their cycles aren't 100% consistent, so if you want to play it safe, you totally can. So what we're going to do here is we're going to jump over here, and now this is the same place that you would line up for Deer Climb Skip, but we're not going to worry about getting the super tight timing window, but I'm just going to show you like where you stand. So you just line up the throw, and then we just climb up these two trees here. And you'll see that Deer God does that kind of jump up and then down. You're actually able to land on that tree right there with that. Like I said, the timing window is super tight. Honestly, looking at that, you might be able to get onto that other tree that we just flew past. But you just want to make your way like over to here. And then we just climb up Deer God. We're going to need to test that out now and see if there's like a second, slightly easier Deer Climb Skip. Alright, let me show that again really quick, just so you can see it. So once we climb up here, let's go back down here just so you can see the full thing that we do, because we do skip a decent chunk of this. Fly over to this tree, jump up here, and rather than jumping on the intended path that way, we just kind of jump over here. And then rather than going over to those trees and then gliding across, you can actually just make the jump from here. Climb up the trees. Notice I'm holding up left to automatically switch over to Deer Voice. Where am I going? There we go. So this is going to be like kind of the first major skip in the run. This saves like 6 minutes. So if you've played this game casually, hey Zenek, how's it going? If you've played this game casually, you'll know that there is a kind of marsh area on the way to the lizard area. What you can do is just kind of glide all the way across here, skip going back to the hub area, skip going back to the bird area, and skip going to the marsh in order to get to the lizard area. So we're just gonna glide across this ocean gap. Oh, can we make it to this tree? That's okay, we'll make it to this one. And so we're just jumping across these trees here. Now this jump can be a little tight because there's actually an invisible wall. And if you spend too much time in the water, you're going to get eaten by the fish. So you're going to get shoved down by that invisible wall and just quickly have to jump over here. Swap to bird voice in midair so that this is open. By the time you get here, line up this throw. You actually don't need to go that far because it's going to teleport you back over here when this next animation is done. So even if you like start running away, it'll just put you back right where you were. So we'll just glide our way over here. If the sound's a little annoying to you, you don't have to hold down the sing button like I do. Just kind of jump over here, over to this tree. Skip some running around. Again, there's a thing that you can do that saves a little bit of time over that, but timing's a little weird. You don't have to do it to get a sub-hour time. You're going to hear me saying that a lot, more than I already have. So now we've got the baby bears that are going to help us make our way through these barriers. Pause for bad pun laughs. So because we don't have a green seed here, this is how we're going to get these open. The AI for these baby bears is really bad. So you're going to kind of just have to spend some time getting them to follow you. These are actually being pretty forgiving right now. Oh, I say that, and he just kind of runs into the thing instead of opening it. And as soon as you see this one start to sing, you're going to jump down here and start running backwards. Now you can make a jump from that rock right there over to those kind of like plants, which is the way that you go, what I'd say the advanced way to go, but it's really tight timing window, so when you're starting out, it's much safer to just kind of run across here. Make the throw here, grab one of the Lizzie boys, and bounce up. So we're skipping a lot here by not, like, pairing with Lizzie boys and having them follow us. So much so that they don't actually have a way to follow us up here naturally. So what we're going to do is we're going to land. It's really important that you land on the space after climbing up that tree here. Let me kind of make my way back up so you can kind of see what I did there. This is actually a bit of a tricky jump. So we get up this tree, jump across here. You're going to have to walk right on the edge to avoid that. Jump up these rocks and then glide over to this tree. Then you have to make sure that you land here before we take an intentional death in the water. If you don't land here, you won't spawn up here. You'll spawn down there, and you'll have to do this again. But if you land up here, you'll spawn on that platform again, and there will be lizard boys when you spawn. Yep, there we go. And so now we just grab one of these, and as we make our way across, we just bounce on these flowers. Now this is kind of tricky, so I'm going to pause a second before I do it. So what we're going to do is we're going to get this green seed, we're going to throw it, and then when we throw it, we're going to start gliding over to Lizard God over there. Because as long as you're not touching the ground in the animation where it shows the adult lizards, you can continue to glide. So you have to get the angle right so you don't like go off into the water and get eaten by a fish. So just keep an eye on my left analog stick and like where I'm angling during this, so you can get a general idea of like where you want to go in order to like cover a lot of distance during this cutscene. So just be mindful of that. So we're going to throw this and start gliding. We have to kind of like make our way around here. And you can see the camera like doing a little bit of a dip, and that's because we're actually in the middle of gliding right now. So not the best glide I've ever had, but it got us way closer than if we hadn't done that. So, in the same way that we skipped Marsh 1, we're going to skip Marsh 2. So we're going to go back up to where the baby bears were. If you miss the flower like that, there are plenty of trees for you to jump to. Actually, you know what? I'll show you the little dip trick right there. Yeah, so basically you start going up this, and then you swing back around, and you should get enough height to make your way up here. Like I said, it's not the easiest thing to do. You don't have to do it. So let me jump across here, swap the lizard voice, bounce on these two flowers. We're going to make our way up here to skip Marsh 2. So, you might think you know what I'm doing here when you see this kind of like big gap right there. And you'd be close, but the developers kind of expected that, so there's actually an invisible wall that stops you from like climbing up here and gliding. I'll show you that invisible wall right now, just so you can kind of see it. Yeah, you get like shoved down. So in order to avoid that, we're going to jump onto this rock right here. It takes a little bit to get in the exact corner, but you're going to get right here, and then jump and glide here. And then you can just kind of jump up between these two rocks. And now we are in this area. And so things are going to glitch out a little bit because we're in the marsh area, but like the top area that's supposed to be post-game. So you can see everything load in kind of suddenly there. We're going to jump up this rock. It's way easier than it looks. You just kind of jump here and then jump here. And so here's some wolves up here. We're going to jump up these rocks. Now you have to be really careful here because you can fall and mess this next part up. So we're going to make our way over to this tree, and we have to like fly out and around in order to avoid that silent one. We just land here. And now we're just going to make our way over to the wolf area. So it's pretty obvious to see how, because the game is designed to make you kind of like backtrack and go back through areas, similar to a Metroidvania. I know not a lot of people like to use that term for FIA, just because it's like very far from a traditional Metroidvania. But it does have some Metroidvania elements, like the backtracking and unlocking places with new abilities that have multiple uses and things like that. You can see how like that lends itself to us being able to kind of just break the game. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you a trick that I think is doable for a beginner, called Mushroom 1 and 2 Skip, which skips Mushroom 1 Skip and Mushroom 2 Skip because we're very good at naming things in this community. But if you find that you have trouble with Mushroom 1 and 2 Skip, I will also do Mushroom 1 Skip and Mushroom 2 Skip so you can see it. So we're going to glide over to here. I'll also show you how to get up here if you miss the landing a little bit. You just kind of like jump. It might take a couple jumps to get over to this corner. So Mushroom 1 and 2 Skip, you're going to get on top of this little icicle right here, and we're aiming for like that kind of bright triangle there. So the jump's a little weird, but it like kind of boosts you up like that. Obviously you don't want to slide back down, but I'll do that jump one more time. Like I said, if you have trouble with it, I'm also going to show you Mushroom 1 Skip and Mushroom 2 Skip. But I think that this is pretty doable for a beginner. The main thing is just making sure that you don't fall off of that kind of ice spike. And also make sure that you don't land on the slide. So, let's do Mushroom 1 Skip and Mushroom 2 Skip. Thank you. So, same general premise, you get up onto this pillar. Oh, and try not to fall off. But then, rather than going over to the left, we're actually going to go over to the right here. And then we're just going to glide over here. So we're just going to skip that first mushroom wall. That's why it's Mushroom 1 Skip. And we're going to jump over to here. So let me show this again. So once we get onto here, we're going to jump. And you might get stuck. Again, just spam grab if you do. And you'll be able to land up here. Bounce off of this flower, and it'll land you right up here. And if you do Mushroom 1 and 2 Skip, you'll land up on this platform, and then you just run across here. So they end up going to the same place. And then there's two different ways to do Mushroom 3 Skip. I'll show you the much easier way, where they just forgot to put the sliding collision, or the like sliding property on these rocks, so you can just run straight up there. then you just need to bounce on these flowers up and over. That way is much easier, so I recommend it for beginners. And so this next part is the wolf cave. And I'm going to kind of go fast through here so that I can show you the best route through the wolf cave. Because it is a little bit of a tight timing to do it. Alright, so we have that wolf right there. Okay. Well, looks like I'm not going to be able to because this wolf didn't want to play nice. But that's okay. So basically, you just have to like grab the tails of these wolves. Oh crap. Alright, we're gonna get caught here. If you do, don't worry about it. That was just really bad timing. Like I said, if you get caught, it's no big deal. I've had, not recently, but previously I've had world records that got caught. So, alright, if you get spotted like that, you're usually good if you're in the middle of grabbing, because the dogs will kind of like freeze how they did just now, because it won't know whether to grab you or grab it won't know whether to grab you or grab the dog that's next to you. But yeah, kind of same deal. Just make our way to get all four. Ideally, you want to be ending so that one of the diamonds that you're destroying is closer to the big ring. But it just didn't work out that way with the pattern of the wolves after we died. And the most important thing is just making sure that you get all of them and try not to die. But sometimes that's easier said than done. It's not too much of a detriment. You should still easily be able to get sub-hour time with it. Also, you don't have to worry about these silent ones. They're just an animation. They disappear like that. So here, super easy. We're just gonna hold like the highest note, max pitch, and you'll pair. So I just like hold it the entire time I'm going through here, because it also gets these little baby wolves' attentions. So they jump across to the nests. Because now we're just trying to get all four of them to jump across. So this is 2, 3, I'm just waiting on 4. There we go. They can be a little bit temperamental. You can lose a little bit of time just to bad luck with their AI. So coming up is another one of the bigger innovations in the All Songs route since the last tutorial, which is that we actually don't even need to go through the cave and back to the starting tutorial area to get back to the hub. We actually just run back through the way we came. And it saves like a minute. The only risk involved with it is the fact that you're running back through the way that there might be some dogs still loaded in that can get you, so you just have to avoid them. So yeah, we literally are just gliding our way back. Oh, had a little bit of a frame drop there, but all is well. Now we're just making our way back to the hub area. That's weird. Obligatory, that's never happened before. That was a weird bump. Normally there's a bird there. So I was already confused because the bird wasn't there. So now we're just making this jump again, and see how I jump a little too early, and so I didn't get that kind of swoop back up. Remember not to jump to the top of the tree or else you'll get this animation. Tried to avoid it, but I just jumped straight into it. So now we're going to glide down to this singing flower that's below us right here. You might get spotted by the silent one. If you do, just run into one of those brushes, and you should be safe. And one more. And now we wait. And so now we're just making our way to the final area. Also, here's a tight little jump that I didn't know about until I saw Pike's run. Just gets you up here a little bit faster. Ike did that in his most recent world record. I just never noticed him do that before. There we go. You don't need to worry about these silent ones. They just ignore you, and you might actually get a boost off of them. You your computer's a little bit laggier, they'll actually boost you forward instead of up, which is pretty nice. Alright, I'll show you the best route through the Bumbaloons here. And yes, that is their official name. If you go to the Zoink Twitter, you'll see the video where they name these, or not the video, but the series of tweets where they name these. Because it was all done through Twitter polls. You'll also see the video explaining how to pronounce Fia, because everybody thinks that it's Faye or Fee or something like that, and I get a bunch of weird looks when I pronounce it as Fia, but it is Fia. That is the Swedish pronunciation for the word fairy, I believe. And the developers have backed me up on that. A lot of people think that because they pronounced it Fee in like the EA Originals trailer, which was by English presenters, that that's the official way to pronounce it, but no, the devs say it's pronounced Fia. You know what, I'm gonna, in the description of this video, I'm gonna find the tweet. I'm gonna find the tweet where they say it's pronounced Fia. Just so I have some backup on that. So yeah, we're just doing normal progression right now. Nothing too crazy. Once we get to the next level, that's when stuff gets a little bit weird. Very, very slight time save to stand in this window. So this is where things kind of divert. I should probably mention that. So like normally you're supposed to follow, we call this person Robot, because, I don't know, people thought that they looked like a robot. We're supposed to follow Robot up these lizard flowers. Yeah, sorry, I'm just addressing something in chat. Zinnick remembers that one of them trolls a little bit and says it's pronounced fum. Yeah, one of them trolls a little bit, but the rest of them correctly pronounce it as Fia. I think that was Olaf or Olav, forgetting his name, that pronounced it fum just to mess with people. So we climb up this tree. We jump up here, and we do kind of like a little turnaround jump to get up here. And then we just pair with this flower right here, and this next part has to be a little bit quick, so I can't really stop to explain it. But once we pair there, we're going to glide over to this flower, bounce up. So the timing there is a little bit tight because we're actually doing those two flowers in reverse order, because that makes it so that we can time this so that we're climbing up here, which is not the intended path, but it's a little bit faster. Come on. Sometimes robot does not really cooperate. I'll show you the faster jump here, because I don't think it's too hard. You just jump across right there. But just in case you have a little bit of trouble making that jump, you can just go the intended way of going along these trees here. It's not too much slower. So here's another bit of a sequence break where we do the flowers out of order. We don't do them out of order, we just do them, we get up to the flower faster than intended. So let me do that again really quick. You jump up these rocks here. I guess they're rocks, I actually don't know. The lore is intentionally vague, kind of so that you can form your own story here. But this jump is one of those ones where you like do the dip and then swing back up. And that just gets you up here a little bit faster. And we're gonna pair with this flower, but like kind of stand over here so that before this one starts moving, we can glide over and boost jump off of it. And then make sure you're not singing so it doesn't put you in the singing animation, because that can like mess with your camera so that you fall down. I've tried gliding across the center to avoid those jumps, because the shaky cam can make it where it's pretty easy to fall. But it seems to just be faster to go that way. Go the intended path, that is. We're basically at the end of the game at this point. There's really only like one other kind of trick, which is just a way to like speed up what robot does, basically a little bit of AI manipulation. So if you do this part fast enough, you can basically just speed up where robot goes. So basically you don't have to wait for robot at the bottom, you can just immediately run over this tree. If you time it right, you stand right here, the robot will not stop right there like you did, it'll stand kind of like on that bush there, and then immediately start running over to the right. But if he does this, he just drop down. It only waits like a couple seconds. And now it's basically just a series of cutscenes with like basically QTEs to get to the end. You know, this tutorial video was way shorter than I thought it was going to be. I was expecting this to be like 2 hours. You know what? I wasn't planning on this, but let's just tack on a run at the end here, just to like kind of give an example of what the run looks like with the beginner route. To lots of cutscene, and now we're finally getting to the next QTE basically. So just hold max pitch and just spam the grab button. And now we just walk forward. And if you've got the auto splitter, then obviously it'll stop the run at the right time. But in case you don't, time stops at loss of control here. So basically, when the cutscene takes over through this little walking thing. So right there. All right, and that is the beginner route for Fia All Songs.